the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris.
From henceforth, this shall be called the career ender. Tulsi Gabbard ends Kamala Harris's play and run at the presidency of the United States. Kamala Harris is lurking at the bottom in the single digits in pretty much every state, including her home state of California. Guess who's in the number one position, however, in the state of California? The great state of California, that is, one Mr. Bernie fucking Sanders. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you enjoy this content, you find yourself coming back here often, please like, share, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. No, I don't necessarily like saying it, but the videos are demonetized. And so this is kind of just par for the course at this point. Polling. This video is going to be relatively quick because it's just polling. However, I like polling because I like to see the trends in the polling because it gives you this direction of where the public head is going. Meaning, one poll is kind of like a scale. They're going to be off to some degree. Sometimes they're off wildly, sometimes they're off not so much. However, if you're looking at the trends within the polling itself, oftentimes you can kind of see where people's head is going. Emerson. Reputable, as far as I know. This poll has a 4 percentage point thing of error. Usually you're looking for 3 points. But I'm not quite sure it matters here. California, 2020. Biden, Sanders, Warren, a statistical tie in Democratic race. Harris struggles in home state. Now, the statistical tie is because the polling thing is 4.7. Well, I don't know how that's a statistical tie, seeing as Sanders is 6 points away from Warren's position. That's it, right here. Sanders and Biden, 26%. Both of them are in the lead. Sanders, however, 26 points. I mean, it's the lead nonetheless. I want to get into this part because one of the most interesting things that I found has to do with Sanders' coalition, his base. And it's multiracial. It's outright fascinating, actually. And it's a coalition. Well, let's show it first. Driving the support for Sanders are younger voters under the age of 50. He leads these voters with 34% of their support, followed by Warren at 18% and Biden at 16% and Yang at 11%. Sanders also have strong support from Hispanic population of California, leading that group with 36%, followed by Biden with 23% and Warren with 16%. Now, here's the catch. That's not just California. Sanders is leading with Hispanics in nationwide polls also. Look at this. This is fascinating. So if we come down to, let's see, right here. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm back at the California poll. Damn, California. Okay, I have the poll up twice. Let's go for this one. Okay, this is national poll. Great. Look at this. Sanders' support also disproportionately comes from those making less than $100,000 a year. He has the support of 38% of those voters whose income is under $50,000 a year, and 22% from those making from $50,000 and $100,000. Sanders received just 6% of those making over $100,000 a year. Biden and Warren's support is much more evenly spread out between the income brackets. Meaning, for people making under $100,000 and under $50,000, those people go disproportionately to Sanders. Essentially, Sanders gets the white working class vote. However, he also gets the Hispanic vote. He's merging these two. And after Biden's African American support, meaning after Biden, you get Sanders. He has a coalition of whites, blacks, and Hispanics. That is extraordinary. You think these groups are at each other's throats. Not so much. These are all part of Sanders' coalition. It's outright fascinating. It's not just in Emerson. Look at this one. This is, what is it called? McLaughlin. This also a poll just came out. Biden gets 20%. 28%. Sanders, 20%. Again, close. But look at the support base. So Biden gets 30% African American support. Sanders, 19. Warren is next with 13. But look at the Hispanic. 30% go to Sanders. They don't have this broken down by like white working class and so forth. But I strongly suspect that if it did, you would have Sanders also making spades with that also. That seems to be a trend in pretty much all of the polls that I've come across. White working class voters making under $100,000 a year, and even more so under $50,000 a year. Look at this part. African Americans, 19%. That's under Joe Biden's 30. The next closest person is Warren, 13%. You're marrying Hispanics, African Americans, and white working class. Now, those making more than 100,000, yes, they break for Warren and Biden. Fair enough. But half of the country is poor, right? Look at this other poll. So this is August, National, Emerson, California, right? All right, so what are other things I want you to see in this poll? Look at this. All right, right here. Among white voters, Warren leads 39% and Sanders 20%, Biden 18%. That's amazing. Warren is beating out everybody with white voters. That was already known. That's her trend. That seems to be something that's constant. Sanders comes in at 20% ahead of Biden in this. That's amazing. Warren support is also disproportionately from those who have college education. Warren support is also disproportionately from voters who have at least some college education, as she only receives 1% of support from those who have a high school degree or less. Let me repeat that. Warren only has 1% support from those who has a high school degree or less. They're going to Sanders. That's the point. Sanders and Biden supporters are more likely to stick with their current choices of 67% and 59%. Warren, only 31% said they would definitely stick with her, meaning that there is a lot of gray area in regards to Warren. I mean, that's 69% of people who say, yeah, we might choose somebody else. Last point. Kamala Harris. This is Kamala Harris's home state. And people suspected that part of the reason that they moved California up is because they wanted to have this state on Super Tuesday to make it difficult for Sanders. I mean, whether that's true or not is unclear. It doesn't really matter because if you look at Harris, 6%. Kamala Harris, broken. Tulsi Gabbard, the career ender. Yang, 7%. Yang is polling ahead of Kamala Harris in her own state. Kamala Harris was supposed to be this dark horse candidate that was a leading candidate among donors and everything else. Here's the catch. Donors have come out and told Kamala Harris, look, you better do something amazing in that debate and you better change what is taking place in this. Otherwise, you're not going to keep getting our cash. We're not going to keep burning our money on essentially the White House lawn. This poll will not help her in her plight. Yang, 7%. Kamala Harris, 6%. And by the way, here's another poll with Tulsi Gabbard polling at 2%, meaning enough to qualify for the Democratic debates. But Emerson is not one of the polls they accept, I don't think. And by the way, there's nobody else. Meaning, Biden, Sanders, and Warren are the three at the top. If Warren wasn't in this race, a large share of Warren's support would go to Sanders, meaning at that point it wouldn't even be close. Sanders would be winning an outright landslide. That said, Warren is in this race, and she is at 20% support. And that support, yes, is eating into Sanders' support. All right, I'm not going to keep this long. Also, by the way, there's another thing. The white working class. Donald Trump was extremely concerned that Joe Biden was going to take the white working class from him. I don't think it's Joe Biden that he needs to be worried about. I think the issue is Sanders. Because at the context of this Democratic primary race, Sanders is the one that is getting that white working class vote, and he is getting it in spades. And when you're looking at states like Texas, that is now all of a sudden competitive, oh, that's a whole nother world. If Texas is in the Democratic column, the world changes. I mean, at that point, it's not even close. At that point, it's a landslide. I mean, the Republicans get into office, oftentimes, they squeak into office just based on the demographics of sorts. And if they no longer have Texas as a state, yeah, they probably try to get rid of the Electoral College. That wouldn't even help their plight because California, at that point, goes 3 million votes towards Hillary Clinton, even when the rest of the country goes red. So at that point, they have no capacity to win. Sanders puts that in play. I don't think Biden does it. And O'Rourke surely doesn't do it because O'Rourke couldn't even win Texas against Ted Cruz. So, there's that. I am not going to keep this one long. I'm going to keep this one relatively short because I just kind of want to give the polling data and there's not much around to it. Needless to say, in one state after the next, Sanders has been either in the lead or getting close to the lead. Or to the lead, I should say. 3 points in striking distance. South Carolina, not so much. But in pretty much the other states being surveyed, Joe Biden's lead is dwindling. Sanders is moving. He has a certain degree of momentum about him. And we still have, 6-7 months to go before they even make the first vote? I've said Joe Biden is going to fade out. The last support that needs to fall from Joe Biden is the African-American vote. If the African-American vote withdraws from Joe Biden will shrivel up like raisin in the sun. Did you see Bill Maher last week? It got good. Krillin. So I saw clips of Bill Maher last week, but I haven't necessarily seen the entirety of the show. Yeah, I haven't seen the entirety of the show. All right, I'm going to leave it here. I think Crystal Ball was on that show, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe I should look at that to see what took place. All right. Chinese Google lover. Sanders hired Linda Sarsour. That's troubling. Yeah, he shouldn't have did that. That's a bad move. She's too much of a lightning rod. Sanders already has a lot of issues that he has to deal with from the standpoint of the new policy positions. Because ultimately, media has been trying to freeze him out. And not just freeze him out. The policy positions, for the most part, are radical in the context of anything that we've had in our politics. So just dealing with that in and of itself and dealing with those arguments of is it too far to the left? Is he going to be able to get it in? Are people okay with the socialists? That type of stuff. You don't necessarily want to add on another hill that you need to climb onto your campaign. Linda Sarsour is one of those hills that you would have to climb. She shouldn't have been added to the campaign. That was a poor choice. All right. I will leave this here. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks all.